has set the Guinness World Record for driving a car around a track at the fastest speed in reverse.
All right, listen, I got to bring in George Mienie. We got like 10 minutes left of the show. No, don't worry. We listen. You're getting some stuff off your chest. It's good.
But it's the truth. I think.
Hey, Gareth. Hey, Robbie.
Hey, what up, bro?
Okay, cool.
Bro?
Can you hear us properly? George?
Yeah, I can. You can hear me. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm getting feedback from you.
Feedback.
I'm hearing myself twice.
Wait. You know what? This little echo cancellation button on your system works well. There we go. Is that better?
Thank you. There we go. All right, so Robbie and I were having a chat.
Tick the echo cancellation box.
Yeah. I know. What have you got for us? George is the CEO of AutoTrader. He is a man who knows everything about the world of motoring. He's got his own show, which is called the AutoTrader Podcast, which you can listen to every Monday. And it's chock full of interesting information. And I saw you guys were talking about all sorts of things this week, including ranking the prices of cars, which is an interesting way of looking at things too, and what people are prepared to pay and what kind of things people are looking for. What do you got for us this Friday, George?
Well, Gareth, I don't know whether everybody knows, but we have had quite a number of motoring, or should I say sports motoring greats over the last couple of decades. So I thought I'd pull those names out and tell everybody who they were and see if we can jog their memory. Everybody knows the current motorbike rider Brad Binder and his brother Darren Binder. I'm pretty sure you've heard of him.
Sure,
and Brad won the 2016 Moto3 World Championship and is currently riding for KTM. And he's about midfield, but I think it's his second year in the seat. And then a golden oldie is Jody Scheckter. I don't know if you remember Jody Scheckter.
You remember him, Robbie?
No idea.
No idea.
I'm not big on motorsport either. So I mean, I know the name Jody Scheckter. I mean, he was a famous motor racing dude, right? I mean,
yes,
Formula One driver.
When was 90s?
When was he? When was he on top of his game?
So he won the Formula One championship and took the title for Ferrari in 1979. But this is the interesting fact. Besides the 1979, he was the last driver to win a world championship in a Ferrari. After him, 21 years later, did Michael Schumacher win in a Ferrari.
Jesus. Okay, well, for Ferrari, that's quite a thing. 1979. Robbie, your parents hadn't even thought of you in 1979.
This reminds me of this Chris Rock joke. When Chris Rock, when people were boycotting the Oscars, because black people weren't nominated, and they're like, why now? It's like, no, because we were dealing with other things back then. So sorry, I'm just like, I wouldn't know who was in motor racing. It was apartheid. We were busy with other stuff, bro. Sorry.
And then everybody knows Gareth Sarel van der Merwe. How can you not know Sarel van der Merwe? And then one of the first...
Sarel van der Merwe used to do... he did off-road... What did he do?
So, yes, he did rally driving, but he also drove on the black stuff around tracks. And he was an 11-time rally driver champion from 1975 to 1988. And then a South African female, Desiree Wilson, after winning 1976 the South African Formula Ford championship. She was one of the only 5 women to ever have competed in Formula One. It was Desiree Wilson.
Okay, I got to be honest with you here, George. These are not names that I am familiar with. I really don't know many of these people.
Well, that's why I'm bringing them up, because there are lots of South Africans in international motor racing that they were at the top of their game, and at the moment it's Brad Binder. So South Africa does produce some greats. Look at Elon Musk from time to time.
There we go. Good stuff.
And then a very interesting story. In Tennessee, this gentleman from about the year 2000, took him about almost 20 years to get this world record, has set the Guinness World Record for driving a car around a track at the fastest speed in reverse.
Listen, have you ever tried to go fast in reverse? It's bloody difficult in a car. It really is, because everything is counterintuitive. Like, you want to go left, you have to go right. You want to go right, you got to go left. And I've seen people do it quickly on a skid pan where there's nothing for you to crash into. Try and do that with their obstacles. It's not easy. It's really, really hard.
Easy, especially around a track. And this guy did an average speed of 77 kilometers per hour, hitting a top speed of 87 kilometers. Imagine reversing at 80 k's an hour. It must be so difficult.
Frightening.
I won't lie, I don't drive. I literally Uber everywhere. I can't drive, actually. That's the truth. So I'm hearing all these things, and I'm just like, I wonder if my Uber driver's ever done this before. It's like,
all right.
Your Uber driver's probably done it.
What's the fastest you've gone in reverse, George?
Normal parking speed, Gareth. I haven't attempted to put my foot down. I think it could be dangerous.
That's where people smash into underground parking, pillars and shit like that. That's not fun.
Not at all.
So the next story is, I know that you drive a lot of DeWitt Motors' cars, Gareth, and he's a customer of AutoTrader, and we love him, and hopefully he loves us. Talking about Mercedes-Benz, there is a tribute to the G-Class, where these people that raised the tribute to the G-Class have stripped the G-Class of its metal and built it in ice. And this car ended up weighing 5 tons.
Is that an ice G-Wagon?
An ice G-Wagon, yes. It's got its original chassis, original frame. They just welded poles around it in order to hold the ice. So they've literally carved the ice out and rested on these poles. And this car actually does drive. That's what it looks like on the show.
It's amazing. I feel sorry for people who do this, because it is art and it's amazing. But I mean, it's going to melt. And it's like those guys who build sand castles. I don't know if you've seen them in Durban and Cape Town. They build these amazing sand castles, and it's like incredible. And you think these guys have just put in so much work, and then a wave comes and washes the whole thing away. And you think, oh, God, nothing to prove it. They've got to take a lot of pictures to make that last.
Exactly. But anyway, they decided that it was the right thing to do to tribute the G-Wagon.
All right.
And then very finally, a truck in California interstate crashed into a barrier and spilt Alfredo sauce all over the highway. Alfredo sauce?
Yes.
I mean, in South Africa. So in South Africa, whenever we have a truck crash with anything on it, then it takes like 2 seconds for a whole lot of people to just appear out of nowhere. Like, literally, a truck could crash in the middle of the Karoo, and no one would be around for miles. You know what I'm talking about. And then if they've got bags of, I don't know, compost, or if it's cans of Coke, there will suddenly be 500 people helping themselves to whatever fell out of that truck. It's unbelievable. So with sports,
I've seen my mom.
Yeah.
I grew up in Durban, and those Coca-Cola, those cool drink trucks, and there's like 2 parts, and it capsized because Durban's I grew up in Durban. There's a lot of hills and windy roads, and this truck collapses. And my mom is a very church-going person. That's the first time I ever saw my mom commit a crime. Everybody was running out there and getting 2 liters, and my mom just got a packet, walked to the street, and got a Sprite and a Coke, and walked back in. And I was like, this is the most gangster thing I've ever seen my mother do.
Yeah, and I just wonder with Alfredo sauce, George. I mean, Alfredo Alfredo sauce off the streets, not something you're going to put on your food, right? You're not going to go and scrape it off the tar and then use it on your food.
No, I doubt. And all this Alfredo sauce was in glass jars. So, you know, if anybody wanted to go and steal the Alfredo sauce, we have a bit of a problem later on.
And you couldn't drive over that because there's all the broken glass, but there's also all this slimy sauce you're gonna aquaplane, right?
Yeah, exactly. You'd probably end up being part of that sauce anyway.
Alfredo sauce doesn't work. It's not a thing to steal. It's like stealing wheat picks. Because if you steal wheat picks, you're gonna need a lot of milk. Like, it doesn't make sense to steal Alfredo sauce.
All right, gents. Listen, we're out of time. Thank you for being on the show this morning, Robbie. It's good to see you, and we'll check you out soon. Thank you very much, man. There's Robbie Collins and George Mienie. We'll see you next week, George. Have an awesome weekend, everybody. Be good, and we'll catch